Welcome to the bench. How's everybody? How we doing? Hope everybody's having a wonderful, what day is it, Wednesday? Oh my goodness. I'm going to be off a little bit early today. Got some business to take care of and students to teach. Looking forward to that. Give it a couple minutes here. Let me see what I can do. Why don't we just do this? We'll give you a chance to show up. Oh boy, welcome Stephen. Hey, it's great to see you again. Hugh, yo brother, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Purple Haze, hello, welcome to the bench where I work on guitars. I get to share what I do for work with my friends and family if they choose to show up. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday. Mine's going pretty darn good so far. So I have on my bench today a Simon and Patrick acoustic guitar. Let's see, they're built Princeville in Quebec, Canada. Canada has been a really great country for building acoustic guitars. Several very famous brands come from there. Hopefully y'all are hearing everything all right. Let me know if the audio or video gets weird. We have a pretty full store today and a big staff working. So here I am. All right. Yeah, Art and Lutherie, Simon and Patrick, and then the very famous Larrivee guitars, which I wish I owned one. And if Charlie was here, he'd tell you all about that. I love Larrivees. My uncle owns one, and it will be a race to see who can get their hands on it. Tremor, welcome, brother. Hello. Stephen, welcome, man. I hope you're doing well, and I hope your guitar builds are going successfully, and then things are moving forward with you. It sounds like you're updating a computer or upgrading a computer. I had mentioned in the text that Yeah, I could tell you some stories about that. Very disappointing stories. Oh, you have a seagull. Yeah, there you go. Then another Canadian built guitar. That's cool. You guys are, so they're all over the world, obviously. Very big guitar company. So this one is owned by a gentleman who is an artist. He does sculptures, bronzes, and things like that. Lives in our community here in Northeast Oregon. He's just a sweetheart of a man, and I don't think he's married, but his lady friend, his partner in crime, is just a sweetheart, beautiful woman. Hello, Han Solo, Han 36 Solo. Welcome to the bench. So what I'm faced with today is a Simon & Patrick acoustic guitar. It is dirty. It's been very unmaintained. And again, the gentleman who owns it, just a really sweet guy. He may stop in today, I don't know. But we have a cracked top on this one. And I've kind of, I had a few minutes before I got started streaming to start to get some repair work going to see how things will line up. I'm not quite sure if you can see this crack right here, but it's a pretty healthy one. It spans about that length of the top of the guitar. And it's a very common injury that guitars get when you leave them in a case laying flat on the floor. Someone sits on it. Has that ever happened to you? If you play guitar for very long, it probably has. Yeah, good call on that one. It is a cedar top, so it's a fairly fragile wood compared to spruce with respect to the way the grain holds together. Many classical instruments, most, I don't know, to say most would be a pretty bold statement, but many classical guitars are built with cedar tops due to the tonal qualities of that. But it's a really beautiful guitar, and again, it hasn't been very well maintained. You can see that the frets here are absolutely disgustingly, totally dirty. So let's just take a little look at what I'm gonna try and keep Sheryl Crow out of the movie. I'll do my best. I don't think she minds, but somebody in Bolivia or wherever. So I got some 600 grit here, and I'll just do one of these. Well, let's do the 12th fret first, just because it's such a famously used fret. To knock so the difference of what it was or what it is to what it will be, very obvious there. These frets are absolutely oxidized and they have guck on them. Probably some smoke, I would guess. The gentleman who owns this guitar wouldn't smoke a cigarette if you held a gun to his head. He'd probably take the bullet first, but we live in Oregon, so that's I'll leave it at that. So this is definitely something I want to take care of for him. The other thing was that the nut immediately fell off the guitar when I pulled the strings off of it, so I'm going to just do a little bit of this stuff that I do prior to taking care of the problems of an instrument. I'm going to get rid of this excess glue and wood on here so that when I glue this back on, it has a good solid surface to stick to. Steven, I've been, if you're still here, I've been texting back and forth with Uncle Tim and talking about stuff, and such a cool dude. I'm so glad to still be friends with him, and we've all been through a lot of stuff recently, and it sounds like he's doing really well. I haven't gotten any details about the guitar that you built for him or the bass. I'm not really familiar with what's happening with all of that, but I know that you were working on building him a P-bass copy, I believe, or a replica, something like that. Wonder how that progress on that's going. If you have any questions on the work that I'm doing on this guitar, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to check in with the chat here once in a while. I do have to maintain my progress on this guitar because, well, it's what I do, and I've got to get them done. This one happens to be at the top of the list today in the order in which it was received. The only way I would put anything in front of this one would be if a working musician came in and had a broken instrument. Working musicians come first on my bench. If you're a gigging musician and you happen to be in Northeast Oregon and you're sick of changing your strings, or you got a little high string action, or you feel like you need a truss rod adjustment, stop by. We'll take care of you immediately. Got to get this glue and stuff off of here. There we go. So now I've got a good flat surface to re-glue this nut. This is it's a composite nut, some type of plastic. I would love to put a bone nut on there, but that's not part of what the owner wants me to take care of. I better put a lid on this or I will cut my finger. So that's a couple of things that I'm going to be faced with on this one. Let's go ahead and just sand the fingerboard down real quick to get the guck off of these frets. Hopefully my cameraman's not too drunk today. He's been sober now for, gosh, a couple months. Story has it he had a beer on New Year's Eve, but enjoying the sober life. No mind-altering substances being used. Very focused. Seems to be able to take care of business a little better and remember things better. So I think it was a very good choice for him. He seems to be enjoying life pretty well. I will go ahead and just take care of this so you can see the beauty that was lying beneath the ugliness of who knows what kind of damage this thing. It's a fairly old guitar. Yeah, I don't know what the date is on this one, but also I believe this has a bolt-on neck, which I absolutely love. I wish more guitar companies would do that. Built a far more serviceable, adjustable guitar for a guitar player. Lots of guck on here, and I'm using 600 grit just to get started. Probably could have used some 400 on this one, but I didn't want to necessarily have to go over them twice. We're just going to hit him with some 600. This guy wanted this done in a really efficient manner, and sometimes we have to cut a few corners, which you know, things could be done a little better, you know, if I was to take, you know, ramp up to 2000 grit to get these things polished. But we're just going to use some 600 grit, and then we'll use some semi-chrome polish to finish them off. And for those of you out there who do work on instruments, have you guys tried semi-chrome polish yet? Jerry Rosa uses it a lot, and I have a deep respect for him and his methods, and that's one product that I found on his recommendation, and I'll tell you what. Zach, hello. Quentin, welcome. Yeah, this thing's going to get the full setup on the fingerboard. We'll take care of that here eventually. Yes, sir. Oh, yes. Bass is still in limbo, waiting for good weather. Oh, yeah. Okay, I hear you. Oh, cool. Good for you, Hugh. Oh, I can't less. Yeah, well, good for you. Yeah, Tim is a really fantastic musician, somebody that I've worked with a couple of times, and just really have enjoyed getting to visit with him, getting to know him better over the couple years that I've known him. We had a nice text chat yesterday about things, and he always asks me great questions, and I try and respond with checking on him, making sure everything's going good. Well, and that's what friends are for, even though we live halfway across the country from one another. So I'm gonna continue working here on getting these frets polished up, and you can see how different things are looking. This is one of the fun parts of doing it, where you can really quickly see the results of the work that you're doing. I'm wearing out this piece of sandpaper. This is Gator brand sandpaper. It's 600 grit. It works really great. It doesn't work real well for sanding finish. It finish balls up on the Gator sandpaper pretty quickly. So I try to use my other, what is it? There's another brand of sandpaper that's fairly famous that I like, because it doesn't ball up quite like this Gator stuff does. If you've done much finish work on guitars, and Steven can testify to this, I'm sure he probably has the best stuff known to man, but if you get a ball up while you're sanding on some finish, holy smokes, and scratch all of the work that you've done because your sandpaper is balling up, it's no fun. I'll clean my tool here. Oop. Sorry if you're getting dizzy. We're almost done. Look at how nasty these ones are up here. These things are just... It's going to make this guitar feel and look a whole lot better. We'll get to the crack in the top here shortly. And by the way, the greatest luthier in the world is 10 feet away from me right now. He's one of the busiest men I've ever seen. He just keeps himself occupied constantly here. Always on the phone, checking in with clients, following up on problem-solving issues that we have here. We're a very small business, and it takes a lot of diligence and discipline to maintain our clientele, and we are second to none. And I do say that with great pride, and I'm not afraid to say that. Okay, so gotten our frets polished. Let's go ahead and rack down this fingerboard. I'm going to go ahead and use my my razor blades. I'm going to go ahead and scrape down the fingerboard on this one just to get this out of the way, and I can treat it with some linseed oil and allow that linseed oil to harden while I'm doing the rest of the work. Again, the nuts off of this thing. I'll need to scrape the end of the fingerboard where I want that nut to stick. And yes, this fingerboard is very dry. I doubt it's been oiled in possibly its whole life. I don't recall ever working on this guitar in the past. I've known the gentleman who owns this guitar, and I've played this guitar in the past on occasion when I visited him out at his house. And he plays flute and drums primarily. He's a musician, loves the Grateful Dead, and you've seen some of his artwork if you're a fan of the Grateful Dead. We'll leave it at that. You can look up who's done their artwork, and you'll probably find his name somewhere in that stuff. Yeah, fingerboard is very, very dry. And it feels very flat, like it doesn't have much of a radius. Almost like it's gotten, whatever's on here is very hard. And I know this is stuff you guys see on live or guitar repair videos constantly, but it is part of the work that we got to do. A lot of elbow grease in this. And the way this thing feels, it definitely has a radius. Boy, it's a very, very flat neck on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more frets here. And then I'll switch up to a new razor blade. Thing seems to be getting dull awful quickly. There we go. Kind of got to find the technique to get the guck off of this fingerboard. It's almost like it's got a, I don't know. It's not like it's been lacquered. Boy, it's hard. Maybe it's just because it hasn't been oiled in so long that it's petrified. Yeah, and you can see the light colors showing up here out in the middle of this. And I'm rocking my razor blade across this thing to make sure to follow the little bit of radius that this neck does have. We don't want to flatten it out. Just taking just tiny amounts of material off of this to get down to the good wood. Boy, my elbow's getting tired. There's a brand new razor blade here. Definitely doing a good job getting the guck off the top of this guitar. I wonder what this was treated with last time. This feels weird, like really hard. I'm going to take a look at the chat real quick and let my fingers take a little break here. All right, we'll get to the top soon enough. Hey Preston, Mitch, hello, welcome, man. Yeah, Pooh, finger funk, yeah, indeed. DNA, man. There's DNA on this one. A lot of people have played this guitar. This guitar has likely traveled the world also. The guy that owns this guitar travels a lot, and he's managed to, for some reason, stay in our area over the winter months. He usually heads south. Who knows where he ends up, but very interesting soul. And he enjoys life to the fullest. One of those guys that lives in the moment, loves hang gliding, loves flying those little not remote control planes, like little one-seater aircraft. He has some property out here in the valley that he jumps off the side of a mountain and flies this little airplane. I can't remember what they're called. Hi, hey Zach, Justin, welcome. Zach, hello, brother. Thanks for always saying hello to me, man. It makes me feel good that you mentioned me in your comments. I appreciate that. Rody, welcome, brother. And Feisty, hello. Feisty, thank you for your support. Y'all give Feisty a horn for her mad support of music in our community. It's wonderful. that she is so diligent about promoting your music and mine. Just wonderful. And I hope you all have been able to catch Richard's streams when he goes live. He's working on one of his guitars, and it's my fault, and I don't apologize. I won't apologize. Richard's been going live working on one of his instruments, and I pop in and chime in a little bit when I can. He usually goes live during my lunch break, so I always tell people that I work 24/7, and that ain't no joke. I will answer the phone in the middle of the night if there's a problem with the guitar. That's how we've been able to keep this business open as long as we have. And believe me, it happens once in a while. Even living in a small community like this, we're not New York City. Everybody in New York is late. We're early. And the city does sleep, but... And please be sure to give Feisty some horns. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. And her partner in crime, Folk and Blueser, I believe, is just a wonderful musician who did some live playing the other night, the other afternoon. I was unable to attend that, but he plays some really magnificent covers and almost all acoustic music. I think everything I've seen from him thus far has been acoustic. Folk and Blueser, look him up. If you're not already subscribed to his channel, please do that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you're not commenting. Oh, no. Anybody can comment today. I went ahead and undid the whole subscriber only mode. A lot of techs might cringe seeing me do this, but you well know if a guitar's sat for 10 or 12 years and not been worked on, this is a very necessary process that I'm going through here. We'll continue moving forward. We're almost done with getting all this guck scraped off the neck, and we'll put some oil on it. I'm gonna also treat the saddle on this. I'm sorry, the bridge. Yeah, it's almost like this wood is just petrified. Amazing. Got a little scratch in there that my razor blade made. I'll have to live with that. I'm going to go ahead and grab one more razor blade. I'm using $15 worth of razor blades on this bad boy. And I haven't looked at the chat for a little bit, but gotta stay busy and stay focused here. Forgive me if you've asked a question and I haven't answered it, but there are some really great guitar techs in the chat right now that know their shit. This area of the neck doesn't get used a lot, but it deserves the same treatment to preserve it. And this is where guitar necks, I'm sorry if I've got my cameraman's been slacking a little bit. Up in here is where guitar necks crack quite often. And you've got to keep oil even though you can't really get at these frets without having a cutaway. I wouldn't own an acoustic guitar without a cutaway. It's not my style. I like to be able to access the upper register of my guitar. That's why they're there. You can reach over the top, but you should treat it with the same respect you do with the rest of the instrument. Yeah, man, this wood is very hard. All right. Yeah. All right. So now what I'm going to do is get my ice pick out, and this is what a trebly guitar sounds like in your ear. Getting all the guck out from the edges of these frets. These are the things that often when you watch a recorded video, they don't share this sort of work that they do. When you watch a guy get done working on a fingerboard and it just looks magnificent, they've left these steps out in many cases, I think, in the videos, which is why I like doing it live. You can see the whole process. I just spit on the guitar neck. That's good. That'll help. That'll help. I'm not left-handed, so I just want to get all the guck out of here. Dave's World of Fun Stuff had a really fun video live stream the other day. That was fun to watch. I didn't get involved in the chat at all, but he's a funny dude. All right, so gotten this thing all scraped down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and polish these bad boys. Again, the gentleman who I'm doing the work for didn't, really want me to take hours and hours and hours to get this thing. So I'm going to use some semi-chrome polish on these frets. And you can see this rag has remnants of other guitars that I've polished. So just put a little tiny bit, just a little bit on here. And rub it into the rag so you can barely see it. And then we'll go over this and really bring them to life. Again, I only hit them with 600 grit. I usually will go up to 2000 grit, but to save time and effort and money, we're only going to go up to 600 grit, which a lot of guys, that's as high as they go with their sandpaper grit and polishing frets, and that is totally just fine. And you can see it's leaving a little bit of black discoloration on that, and we'll take care of that here in a minute. A little bit more semi-chrome on the rag. I'm not worried about it. It does a great job really getting this stuff off of here, and you can see the difference. These I've already sanded, but now I'm hitting it with the semi-chrome polish, and man alive, it really makes them shine. And I'm really glad to have been turned on to this product, because it saves me a lot of time in the process. In many cases, it can cut your fret polishing time down in about half. And if this isn't a testament to it and you're watching it happen, look at that compared to that. Pretty incredible. Let's get you down close, so hopefully my camera is allowing you to really see the difference. Again, lots of elbow grease. So what I'm going to do when I'm done polishing these frets is I'm going to go ahead and go over the fingerboard with simple green and a toothbrush, and that will help finish up the cleaning process of the fingerboard, and we'll let it sit for a while and dry out. Pretty amazing, huh? And you know, the cool part of doing this sort of stuff is, you know, it looks beautiful, and I think it helps inspire a guitar player when you look at something that's just really clean and well polished. I think it'll inspire you to play. I don't necessarily recommend doing this every single time you change strings on a guitar, but definitely, you know, once a year or so. Some guys don't change their guitar strings but once every 5 years, and that's fine. If that's the case, go ahead and polish up your frets when you pull the strings off. As you can see, it only takes, you know, 20 minutes, half hour-ish to take this step and make them look pretty much better than new. Alright.
Bathroom?
Yes, right through there, and the light switch is right behind that ladder. Yeah, okay. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the guck off the fingerboard, and then we'll get to fixing a crack. Now, I say that, but who knows what else will come up when I do this process. So, I'll get my favorite toothbrush. Oh, by the way, I went to the dentist. I should share this. People comment on my teeth quite often, and I appreciate it. Oh, Midnight Bandit, hello. Whoop. Let me see, I'm knocking stuff on the floor. Charlie, welcome, brother. How's my Larrivee doing? I got another Canadian guitar right here for you, bro. 1200 finish with 400, 600, 812. Yeah. Yeah, dude, you know the deal. Again, I would normally do that, but on this guitar, he doesn't want to. Not that he doesn't want to, but I want to save him a little bit of money, ultimately, and this thing is going to be great. I don't think this guitar gets used a ton, but he's wanting to play more, so we're going to make this. I mean, if this was my guitar, I'd be happy with the work that I'm doing on it. And I don't treat any of them differently than I treat my own. So here we go. Let's see, where'd my toothbrush go? There it is. Alright. This is just normal, simple green cleaner. And we'll start up here. And you can see the simple green kind of getting that brown tint to it. So I'm getting a lot of the filings from sanding on this guitar, and I do want to put a rag over the hole, sound hole here, keep the simple green from getting down in there and marring up the decal from Simon and Patrick. It's a great way to just keep maintenance on your guitar and to make it look pretty. You don't have to do this every time you change strings, but it doesn't hurt. You can see how gucky that is. And this fingerboard will look beautiful once I get this done and let it dry a little bit. I try to be real conservative in using paper towels. I live in Oregon, and I'm one of the guys that knows that trees are not a forever thing, so we don't want to waste a lot of paper. Alright, so we've gotten that all done. I'll have to go rinse my toothbrush out here shortly. And put that rag in the sound hole to prevent the drops of Jupiter getting down in that sound hole and marring up the tag in there. Dave's gonna love getting this guitar back. He's just gonna love it. It's gonna look gorgeous. And look at the difference already. I did put one little ding in the, it's just from my my razor blade dug in there a little bit, and you can see the material that's come off of this thing. You just removed like 8 pounds of shit off this fingerboard. So the guitar will weigh a little bit less. Here's another little clue. If you do take a guitar into a tech to have some work done for you, or just a string change, take the strap off of the guitar. Don't take it in with the strap attached to the guitar. Save your tech some time. Not that it takes a long time to remove a guitar strap from a guitar, but if I don't have to do it, that makes my day. As you can see, I've used that semi-chrome on a lot of guitars, and it does a fantastic job. And now this guitar fingerboard looks about as good or better than the day it was made. I'm going to let it sit and dry a little bit. We'll let the simple green evaporate, and I'll put my semi-chrome away. This stuff, you guys, if you have an opportunity to get some of this, I highly recommend it. And you know, even if you don't work on instruments, if you're polishing a car or some chrome trim or a picture frame, I mean, you name it, man, this stuff is really designed for metal, and I cannot, oh, this stuff is killer. Alright, so let's take a look over here. Give me a second here. Trying to keep Sheryl Crow out of an old guitar. I'm trying to learn to play. Okay. Yeah. Remember, 79 Strat, and it's dirty. That's perfect. I have a 78 Strat. If you've seen me use it on my live, that's a 78 Strat. We have almost the same guitar. Maybe built in the same factory, possibly on the same day. That's cool. Yeah, my toothbrush is gonna get weird. Oh, I should mention I went to the dentist. My teeth got polished, man. Oh, I'm so happy. Made in Japan. Oh, dude, those guys can build some killer instruments over there. My Strat was made assembled in Japan, and that was right at the onset of Fender leaning to Japan for their assembly process. They let's see. Yeah. Yep, simple green. Yep, it's simple green. You're right. Yeah, I just use the normal stuff you buy at the store, and the cool part of this stuff is that it evaporates really nicely. But if you do use this to clean your fingerboard on your guitar, you want to be very, very careful. If some drips over on the back of the neck, and it is a fantastic cleaner. It knocks the guck off of it, but make sure to get all of that wiped up. You can, especially on a painted guitar neck, it can leave, it'll stain that finish. So you've got to be really careful not to leave it on the guitar too terribly long after you're done cleaning it. And I'll show you right now. I've almost made this oh, I got to keep Cheryl out of the video. You can see right here on this neck, I didn't get it wiped off of there, and I got to it quickly enough that it's not going to cause a problem. But, and here's another thing, when you buy a new guitar, and I may have sold this gentleman this guitar 15 years ago, I don't even know how old it is. All of these things, take this stuff off when you get the guitar home. I always say it, I don't like removing another man's condom, but in this case I'll do it. Yeah, take this stuff, get these little covers, take that stuff off of there. All it's there for is for shipping, protected against FedEx and UPS, which, all due respect, those guys are your shopping grocery carriers now in most cases. I would never do that, but alright. Nice serial number there. Yeah, make sure to get all that simple green off the back of the neck after you've cleaned the guitar like that. It will leave little black marks and doesn't look pretty. Alright, so we're going to move on to this crack in the top. Now, I already installed a jack on the interior of this guitar. Let's see what's going on. I'm sorry if you're getting dizzy. Well, I'm not sorry. I just never apologize. Just try not to let it happen again. That's what I've always been told. Or no, don't let it happen again. Alright, so I'm not going to put linseed oil on that. I want to let the wood definitely get that. So the crack is right here. I think you can see it. I tried a product called Awesome from the dollar store. I haven't. I'm not familiar with that stuff. I may have to give it a shot. We have a dollar store here, but I don't know how they call it the dollar store because everything costs $1.25 now. Kind of false advertising. So I've put a jack on the interior just to kind of to see what I can do with getting this crack in the top of this guitar to go away. And here we go. I just discovered, show you this killer little tool. So I've got to find a little better position for this. There we go. I think what I'm going to do is try. So I've got to position this jack on the interior. These things are not highly, I don't know, touted in the guitar repair world. However, I enjoy having it. It's a cool tool to have. I've got a brace right here on the interior that I know you can't probably see that real well. I'm going to try and catch that brace and just push up on the top of the guitar a little bit. We'll see if I've got enough room here to get this in there. The braces in this guitar are way too tall. There's no need to put that much wood in a brace in an instrument. Yeah, it's probably stronger, but it makes fixing them not the easiest. Okay, boy, I hope I have enough. We'll see if I can get this. Oh yes, okay, so I can. Okay, I'm thinking out loud here, you guys, so if I say something.
The lights are just wired into the outlet in that center console. So if you unplug that, there's no drop. But actually, it gets power and ground out of that little thing. So as soon as you turn that off, there's no drop. Only if you left it on would it, yeah. And do you like that, the shock sensor? Because it has a shock sensor in there. So like if it's locked and it gets jostled or bumped or whatever, the alarm goes off. Does it do that?
Forgive me for being so quiet here.
Do you want me to disconnect that?
So I've gotten this jack in here, and I'm just rehearsing this move.
But I'll have to get at that stuff. I'm gonna have
oh yeah.
But I could probably.
So I can see that jack is pushing this top up.
They don't have the brake wire hooked up, but we have a little device.
A little lip there.
It works off the amp.
All right, so this is going to be the right tool for the job. And I'll be able to squish this together. So I've got a gap here in the top, and I've got a clamp that I'll be able to put on either side of this guitar to push it together to hold that.
Or at least tell you why it's not.
So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this gluing process on this right now. And I'm going to relieve. What's that?
The restroom?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right there, lights on.
Okay, I just
No,
didn't want to walk through.
Oh, you're fine, dude.
All right, thank you.
Hey, you gotta go, man. Woohoo. All right. That was the jack just kind of setting into this. It kind of slipped on one of the braces a little bit. That wasn't something breaking. All right, so now I've got a nice gap there. I'm going to use tight bond, and I'm going to use a paintbrush. I've got a gentleman that is using the restroom right at the moment. I'm going to get my favorite water mug out, and we're going to glue this thing. And I know that I can get penetration into the crack. And there's a small crack right here that I'm going to get some glue in also. I'm going to go grab a couple clamps. Give me a moment, I'll be right back. Make sure my clamps are long enough. You can never have enough clamps. Oh, heck yeah. All right. So I got that one there. And I can probably get a second clamp. Might be able to get a little bit of a squeeze on it here. May have to brace this up against the other clamp, but I can see that this gluing process, what I'm going to do right now is get the top all solid. There's a brace underneath here that is also loose. It's come loose, and there's no way for me to show that to you in the video. Yeah, thank you, man. So I'm not even going to bother with that. Let me see, Charlie. Yeah, buck and a quarter store. I get you. The general, the tree. Okay, yeah, Dollar Tree. Yeah, I've heard of those. We do have a dollar store here in this little town, and we're gonna get an Arby's, which I wouldn't eat fast food if you paid me, but we're gonna get an Arby's and like a TJ Maxx. It sounds like here. So our little town is growing. Of course, it's more corporate stuff instead of small businesses, but hey, we'll take it. People enjoy their fast food. And I can get, don't get me started on that. All right, I need to go get some water. I'm gonna get a rag wet. I'm gonna grab, oh, yeah, our dollar store. These cost me $1.25. $1.25. It's not a dollar store anymore. It's a dollar quarter store. Alright. The thing I hate about these is these little plastic, if you're going to use these to work on guitars, make sure to get that stuff off of them, because you will scratch the finish on a guitar. I promise. I haven't done it yet doing that, but because I'm very wise to these little plastic shit on these. Absolutely unnecessary, but it's just a way for them to charge you a quarter for the rag. Alright, everything's done to make money, huh? More money for useless. Alright, let me go get some water, get my rag wet. I got my brush, I've got my clamps, I've got my jack in there. I'm thinking out loud here, folks. Okay, we're ready. Alright, here we go with this repair. I know you're not going to be able to see everything. Maybe I should let me try and position this guitar a little differently here. Be careful not to spill my water all over my stuff. Get rid of some clutter on my bench. Alright, I'll go ahead and get this wet, and I'm going to go ahead and take my my paintbrush, which I just set down. I'm going to take my brush and go over this with a little bit of water. The glue will flow a little better if it's got some water to help lubricate the crack. So not a ton of it, just enough. We don't want the glue to be really watered down. And thinning out wood glue is just fine. Anybody that tells you anything different, ask me how I know. Alright, I think most luthiers would agree. Okay. Ooh. My glue is glued shut. There we go. I use Tight Bond Original. You're watching it happen right in front of your face. This is what we have to do. Now I'm going to get my brush, which is right here. It's got a little bit of water on it, and I'm going to go ahead and start pushing that glue down in there. You can see that I've kind of thinned out that glue a little bit by having my brush be a little bit wet. So this is my first stab, no pun intended, at getting glue to penetrate that crack real well. And I will gusset this when I'm done gluing the exterior and getting glue down in the crack itself. Right? They use there's guys that use suction cups to try and push the glue down in the crack, and that seems to work pretty well. Alright. And kind of pile the excess glue up on that crack, and I'm going to use capillary action here. Capillary action. I know I'm using big words for guitar players and bass players, but here we go. You can see that crack moving, and I can feel that I've got penetration all the way through. There's glue on the interior of the crack. Okay. I hope I'm doing a good job. I know that Steven does a lot of wood gluing. He's probably not here right now. If he is, I wonder what he thinks of what I'm up to here. He's probably had to do this himself. Possibly on a guitar that he built himself. You know, you gotta build that perfect top and then it cracks. You can't really overdo this process. You want to get glue penetration everywhere. Solid glue penetration. Yeah. My kickstand has come loose here, so we're gonna get that back. This is one of the hardest parts, is getting these kickstands with its jack in the right position. Okay. Now I'm tightening this jack and lifting the guitar interior up to level out the crack. And we'll go ahead and wipe some of this excess glue off of here. And the cool thing about Titebond is even if it's fully hardened, you can get rid of it with the wipe of a little bit of water. Okay, so now I'm feeling for the top being level. And the crack just really smoothed out nicely. And I'm moving this jack just ever so slightly. Alright. We'll see how she looks here. I'm going to put one clamp. I'm going to be very gentle with the amount of pressure I put. I don't want to crack it. You can see the squeeze happening here. Be really careful about squeezing the guitar this direction too tightly. Believe me, you can fuck something up pretty badly. And then I'm going to try and get a clamp over here as far as I can. And it's going to want to scoot down here to the center of this. So we're just going to go ahead and go with this. And you can see the glue squeezing out of there. And now I've got my clamps right in the way of my hand to get in on the inside of this guitar, but boy, that laid out smooth. So I'm gonna tighten this clamp a little bit further to push up just a little bit more. Oh boy, that's looking great. I want to give it a little bit more pressure here. I'm not using the strong hand of the law, strong arm of the law. And that crack is basically invisible now to the touch. You can see it. There's probably a little bit of material missing from that, but we've got a good clamp. Now, I don't know if I can get. Yeah, we're gonna call that good. That ain't going anywhere. And I'm not gonna do any finish repair to that. So that's how you do that. Hey, thanks for being here, Pooh. Peace, brother. All right, so this thing is glued up. We're gonna go ahead and let that sit and dry for the next. I'm gonna let that dry for 24 hours. And we'll see how she looks tomorrow. And then again, I'm gonna have to go inside and with my clamp that I've got in there, my jack. Yeah, that is you can't even feel it. So that's great. It's still slightly visible here. I'm gonna go grab a bigger clamp and see if I can't maybe get a little bit more pressure across here. We'll see if I can do that. I'm bringing out the big guns here. This is a big bad boy. It's intimidating. Just to try and get a little bit more, maybe more pressure to squeeze this back side together. And I'm with these big clamps, boy, you got to be careful not to squeeze them too hard. Yeah, that just made a marked improvement in that. Nice. I'm feeling pretty darn good. I hope I did a good job. Alright, so we've gotten that all taken care of. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward on this repair. Sometimes it's the order of operations that you can take care of stuff and then move on to other things. Got this nut that came off of here. Let's go ahead and glue that back on. Got to get the rest of the glue scraped off the end of this fingerboard so that I got a good surface to glue back. These guys do a great job when they glue on a nut. They don't use a boatload of glue. Just a couple little drops. If the nut comes out, so what? Pretty easy to fix. I'm gonna grab a bit of I like to use, well, we'll use Roncinol in this case. I'm just using this to clean the area that I'm going to be gluing. I'm going to put a little Roncinol on my rag here. And I'll be sure to drip some on the fingerboard. Just to clean that up a little bit. And then Roncinol dries and evaporates into nothing. It's a great product for cleaning. There we go. Gone. Okay, so we'll let that. You do not want to get Roncinol on like a painted logo. That or denatured alcohol will take that right off of the guitar immediately. Alright. And we'll get some. I'm down to the last of my runny, or my thick. My thick super glue. I've got a brand new bottle of that. I buy this at our local shop here called the Hobby Habit. They always keep a good supply of it in stock, and I usually buy an extra bottle of it just so that I don't run out. Just a teeny little bit. That's way too much. As Vice Grip Garage would say, perfect. I'm going to hold that for just a second. There's a tiny little, I think they pre-make these nuts. In fact, I'm almost certain they do at the factory. And on Simon & Patrick guitars, I've found that generally these nuts are actually narrower than the actual fingerboard. It's not what I would do with a nut, but I like them to fit so that there's just absolutely, you can't feel them anywhere. So you shape them with files and such. But Simon & Patrick builds a pretty decent, affordable guitar. We're gonna check the hardware. We'll see. Yeah, see, these are all loose. All the hardware on this, all these nuts are loose. I can undo them with my fingers. Something you can do on an acoustic guitar with these types of machine heads is just cinch them up every time you change strings, because they will loosen up. Don't over tighten them. You'll crack the finish on your guitar. Just snug. I know my elbow's right in the middle of the film here. Probably. This one was really loose. There we go. We're all snugged up. Our nuts glued back on. Time for linseed oil. Let's dab it a little. We'll put some linseed oil on this fingerboard and we'll probably call it a day. What do you say? Have you all had a good time? I want to mention something, and that is that a good friend of mine has been doing some live streams on Wednesdays and has encountered a problem, and he might need some help. And you know, if you care, there's a link to his PayPal account, and if you want to throw him a little bit of dough to help him solve the problem that he's got with his live streaming situation, it would be very kind of you. I would greatly appreciate it, and I know he would. So down in the description, there's a link there, and if you feel like you learned something and want to throw a couple bucks my way, feel free to be as generous as you like, and I really appreciate that. I will not monetize my channel again, at least not for the foreseeable future. They want tax information from me, and I'm not buying bombs, sorry. So please help my friend out if you would. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening with our fingerboard now that we've got everything all set up. I'm gonna have to clean up the headstock. We'll get the guck off of there, but let's put some linseed oil on here and see what this looks like now. That's way too much. Perfect. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Oh boy. Look at that. Just beautiful now. Clean and polished, and I'm gonna let that sit for a few seconds here. Not long. You don't want to let it harden. Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. You can swear on my channel and use any type of expressions that you'd like. If you use a racial slur, you'll be immediately banned from my channel. If you start talking politics, you'll be dismissed. That's about the extent of my non-allowed stuff on my channel. So you can say whatever you want. I talk like a pirate. This is not a show. I mean, children should watch this and learn how to take care of their own instruments like I did when I was a kid, because I don't have to pay somebody to work on my guitars. You know, it saved me a lot of money over the life of my life. And my guitars are all pretty well set up, and I love playing them. So yeah, you can say anything, use any foul language you'd like. I don't care. Let's just be respectful of others, ultimately. Fat thumb. Nice. All right, so we've gotten the fingerboard all oiled, and now it's time to wipe the excess oil off of the frets and let this guitar hang for a few hours. Tomorrow I'll be back at it, and we'll let the glue dry, and we will not finish this guitar tomorrow. I don't think I'll be able to finish it because I've got to glue some gussets on the interior, and I've got to re-glue that brace. So this one is not going to be a one-day thing. But as you can see, it takes about an hour of time. I've been on let's see, yeah, I've been on, I've spent about an hour of time and a lot of talking, which I do not charge my customers the full amount for when I do live streams on this, so I take time. So there's the guitar neck in all its glory. Let's go ahead and wipe down the finger or the headstock up here. I'm just kind of cleaning the dust off of here. Looks a whole lot better. Look at that. We'll knock the guck off of the machine heads. Get these looking nice. Of course, I'll be fucking them up when I go to tune the guitar, but there's like spots of probably beer, bong water, all that sort of stuff on these machine heads. And the other thing that I'm doing while I'm doing this is I'm spinning them a little bit to see if they feel consistent. And this one is a little bit loose, so I need my so what I'm going to do is tighten this screw down ever so slightly to make it feel like the rest of them, so that there's a consistent. These feel really, really nice. This one is a little bit loose, or also a little bit loose. There we go. You want to keep this stuff. These are little maintenance things you can do to your instruments to keep them from, well, help tuning stability. I mean, ultimately this doesn't have a whole lot to do with the tuning stability of the guitar, but it will protect your parts from potentially being damaged. And the parts that I'm talking about are these little washers. We'll take a nice dive down into this. That little black and white, and see, I just spit on the guitar. So this guitar definitely has my blessing on it. But that little black and white washer right there, one of them's a lock washer and the other one helps it to spin smoothly. And if you let these get loose, that white washer, I guarantee you, will crack and fall off of there, and then you'll have a loose tuning button. So it's something you can always do to your instruments. You can do it with the strings on or not. I like to do it without the strings on because it gives me a good starting point. And if they feel snug, you don't reef on them. It is not an Arnold Schwarzenegger moment. Just give them a little snugness. And now all the hardware on this guitar is all maintained. Don't need any oil. They feel fine. And the neck's oiled. Everything's looking
make sure have
tits. Okay. All right. We're gonna go ahead and end this live stream today. I've got to get on to some other stuff. I'm gonna be working on a cello today, and I don't need to do that live on the air. I might shoot video of that and edit it later. Oh, Charlie, you don't cry. Oh, okay, cool. Good for you. I talk like a fucking pirate. Yeah. Penetrating the crack. Yeah. So I hope you all have had a fun time, and I thank you for being here. And I'm going to end stuff now. Be sure to tune in tonight. I'll be on live at 5 o'clock. And I think the Falcro will be on after that. I may go a little longer tonight. Just depends on what happens with my friends who do live streams. I don't know. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't care who's live. If I'm going live, I'm going live. But try and be polite, right? So, you guys. Hey. Okay. Hey, you're welcome, Mike and Preston, Hugh, Charlie, Justin, if you're still here, Steve, Tremor, Hans 36. I'm remembering who all was here today. And Zach, yeah, brother, you're so great. Thank you all for hanging with me.